Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Dr. Terri Show. I am back in beautiful Puerto Rico, and today I have a very special guest. His name is Braulio Castillo, and he is a very well-known actor and personality here in Puerto Rico. And he has a really interesting story about his journey to wellness and his passion for prevention, and even taking that passion to the stage with speaking about prevention for the a cancer society. And so we are going to have a really great conversation with him today about his journey of health and wellness, his journey with cancer, with prostate cancer, and just some of the key things that he really focused on and how he shifted his mindset. Join us in the conversation. Hello. I want to call you Mr. Castillo, Senor Castillo, but you like to go by Braulio.
Sure, you can call me Braulio.
Braulio.
Yeah, you got it.
Amazing name.
Nice to meet you, Dr.
Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for being here. I know have a crazy schedule right now.
Right.
Filming and have a Broadway show you guys are putting on. So exciting. But I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today. And as you know, that I'm very passionate about disease prevention and wellness, and you have quite an interesting story. Yep. But before we get to your health story and why you even decided you were okay with coming on the show, I'd love to know just about yourself. I know you come from, I think your father was an actor, right? And so I just love for our audience to know a little bit more about you.
Well, I was brought up in the show business life. My father was a very well-known actor in Puerto Rico. He passed away almost 9 years ago. Well, it's going to be 10 years now, as 2015. And so I was very involved with the limelights and all the thing surrounding that lifestyle. I got to travel a lot as a kid. My father did some work in South America.
Nice.
Lived in Peru and Mexico, and then
that's great.
Back in San Juan. I had a fun upbringing, childhood, I should say. And as a matter of fact, I didn't want to become an actor.
How come?
I wanted to be a doctor.
Ah. Okay.
When I started in college in Puerto Rico at the university,
you have a couple of great medical schools here.
Yeah. Well, so when I entered the University of Puerto Rico, we do our general studies the first year, and then we go to the faculty that what we wanted to study. So I did enter the natural sciences faculty to do a bachelor's degree in biology. Because I wanted to be a doctor.
Yeah. So it's in your blood, this health and wellness.
Health has been always involved in my life. My brother is a doctor.
Okay.
Is a hemo-onco.
Yeah.
But things went the other way, I guess maths, and I didn't get it that well. And I switched into communications. Uh-huh. And that's where I got started in this business as a radio personality. I was a DJ on a radio station. And from there, then I got some interviews, and I was asked if I wanted to do some work as an actor. I did a play, and when I hit the stage, that was it.
You knew.
I felt like a fish in a pond.
That's awesome.
And this is it. And so I went out and finished my studies in Emerson College, Boston. Uh-huh. That's where I graduated from. And then got back to San Juan and started my acting career. But health has always been part of my daily thing, because as an actor, you must take care of your health. This is
your asset.
This is our instrument, right? Our asset.
Absolutely.
And yeah. And talking about the health style, there was an event that really, I would say, kind of focused my attention into health.
Uh-huh.
In my first years as an actor in Puerto Rico, I was having a lot of success. My lifestyle was kind of crazy, you know.
Yeah.
You know, the
Indulgent,
indulgence, fast-paced,
not sleepy,
Live.
probably.
right? Not
late
not
nights.
sleep. And I had this some digestive issues, right? Mm-hmm. And I went to a doctor. It was a natural medicine doctor, and he told me, "Listen, your intestines are swollen, and if you don't do something right now with your intake and your overall health, it's going to get serious." So that's the first time.
That was a pivotal moment for you.
Yeah, it was a pivotal moment and that's where
How old were you, if you don't mind me asking?
I was, sure. I was just about somewhere around my 30 years.
Yeah. So young, you know,
Yeah.
and that's a wake up call.
Yeah,
right
it is.
there.
It was good to have a wake up call that young.
Yes.
And that's where I learned something about you are what you eat.
Oh, I love that you just said that. I'm so passionate about talking about gut health, and it's becoming trendy now to talk about this, but 20 years ago, 10 years ago even, talking about gut health and the gut microbiome and how it impacts disease, that wasn't even on anybody's radar. And the fact that, you know, Hippocrates knew it, you know, he said all disease begins in the gut, and we're really seeing that more and more now. So that's fascinating that even, you know, 20 plus years ago, you came across a doctor that was really focusing on that and saying, if you don't get this fixed, and the number one thing, besides what we intake, it's not just what we put in our mouths, but also what we allow in our minds, and the stress and all of those things can impact it. So when he was having these conversations with you about this, was he talking more about what you're putting in your body from a eating, drinking standpoint, or all of it? Stress, lifestyle.
He was not overall oriented. He was just, because it was such a serious gut issue, I should say, that he was very focused on my intake, my intestinal flora, you know, get rebuilt, whatever, and that created a consciousness about how quickly, and it's amazing how quickly I could restore my system if I stick to the plan. Right. So that really got me started in the eating aspect of my wholeness. Right. Taking care of my whole. You know, body and mind, spirit, whatever. That was a beginning. And then that turned into, okay, I gotta keep my overall health. So let's pick up on exercise.
Okay.
So, and then exercise and eating became like mainstream in my life. For so many things. You know, I got involved with that was the era. I've been talking about 80s. That was the era of aerobics, you know.
Yes, absolutely.
Hey, you know, Richard Simmons and aerobics and everything, and the health and the new trend thing about moving, you know.
Yeah, move your body.
Yeah. And that was pivotal in my life. Definitely.
So you began to incorporate this just lifestyle changes in your everyday.
In my everyday.
You know, you have to, and I tell patients all the time, you know, people make time for what's important. And the fact that you figured this out at an early age is so amazing. And then when you just start really incorporating that in your lifestyle, what changes did you see?
Immediately, the overall feel good about it, you know, more energy,
right?
Awake, not lazy, you know, not dragging my feet. I would go the extra mile on, like, say, rehearsing time. We have long hours of filming. I could see the overall lasting. Better feeling
more
better.
endurance. Yeah.
Yeah. And I loved it. So it was like an addiction to exercise. Oh, the more I did it, the more I wanted. So, and it became like a second nature thing.
Right.
Like for me, like, let's say going to restaurants, when I had to go out and dine out, it was like, okay, I'll have this, not this, in Puerto Rico, our diet, the regular diet, it's high in carbs.
Mm-hmm. A lot of bread.
A lot of, how do you say, fried things,
Yeah.
like, the fries and,
the plantains.
Right. So I was very aware of it. And for me, I remember I had to have a balance of, I needed to see what my dish
Sure.
was like, my salad and my vegetables, and then if there's space for some little carb and protein, so it changed, and I started creating that, and it became automatic. It was not at the beginning. I needed to train myself to that, but then it was something that my brain would do it automatically.
Right. So you bring up an interesting point, because here you are trying to completely radically change your lifestyle as it revolves around food in a culture that doesn't have as many choices then, maybe now. So how does one do that? Because I hear this a lot, actually. Oh, my lifestyle, I can't eat fresh and healthy all the time because I'm on the go all the time, or my lifestyle, etc. But I guess you just have to make it important.
I had to be very consistent in. You know what? I started preparing my own meals.
I was going to say, you have to be intentional and probably do a lot of meal prep for that.
Yeah.
And this day and age, probably, it seems like there's more, obviously, a health conscious, and it seems like there might be more choices. So I'd imagine it would be...
Back then, it was very hard to find health food restaurants or stuff like that. Or fresh.
Yeah.
There was, the only fresh place was supermarket. But then you needed to know what to buy and how to mix, that I learned from that doctor.
From that natural
practitioner. He helped me, because there were some guidelines of produce and things I could not, have or avoid. And it was good, because that gave me a broader spectrum of, my choices, my alternatives, and when going to the market and buy stuff. This is funny. When this happened to me, I was just getting married. As a matter of fact, then the kids came along, and I remember my wife cooking the daily meal for my kids, but I would prepare my meal apart. So I wouldn't just sit down and chug on rice and beans, because that's sustain the kids. I would just go, okay, I'll have just a little rice, but I got my fish or my chicken here, my veggies here. It was funny, because then the kids will go, doesn't Daddy eat what we eat?
Yeah.
And Mom will go, no, he likes to prepare his own meals, and. That was a very important part of creating this notion of the well-being.
Absolutely. And I've heard you say on other interviews and things about talking about how important disease prevention is for you. So tell me a little bit about that and just how you out there.
Disease prevention came as a major topic in my lifestyle after I was diagnosed with prostate cancer.
Okay.
I'm a prostate cancer survivor. It's going to be 14 years now.
Wow.
Congratulations.
So you were young then.
Yeah, I was 50-something. I was
Yeah.
50, 51, 52 years, something like that.
And did it run in your family or?
No. I'll come to that because it was a very important part of something that I discovered.
Mm-hmm.
I did, as a health conscious man, I knew that the physician's suggestions was after your 40s, start doing your regular checkup with your
urologist or
urologist, right? And I remember I started maybe somewhere around 42, 43 over there. So I was doing my yearly checkups. And my PSA was there on the time. And because I had a vasectomy done, because we already had 3 kids.
Yeah, enough.
So my wife told me, why don't you take care of that business? I said, no problem. That's very easy. And it was a great thing to do. A lot
much easier for
peace of mind,
Absolutely.
So when PSA started like showing up a little higher, then the whole process was very interesting because of the prevention.
Yes.
We caught it on time.
Yeah. Caught it early.
Yeah. And the process or the time before from that very first detection to the actual surgery, it was maybe a year.
Oh, okay.
Because it was like, okay, the PSA is a little high. Let's take some antibiotics. I think that might be an infection.
Yeah.
Then PSA came a little bit down, but not as far down as the doctor wanted. So we're going to repeat the doses of the antibiotics. Then a little bit further down, it kind of raised up a little bit. So he said, let's go for the...
like a sonogram or
a rectal sonogram, a prostate sonogram, and then the sonogram didn't show any lesion.
Lesion. That's right.
Lesions. So he said, "Well, let's keep an eye on this," and then the PSA went a little bit up. Say, "Okay, let's go for the biopsy." So when biopsy came back, he said, okay, there's some lesions and I think it's encapsulated.
Yes.
So let's go for the bone scan, the ab scan and everything. And finally he said, I think this is encapsulated. We have nothing to worry about.
Yep.
Let's take care of this. So the alternatives in that moment were either the radiation therapy with the pellets.
The pellets, yeah.
But and then there was the Da Vinci method.
Yeah.
And he said, you got the options. I cannot tell you what to do, but you're a young man.
Yeah.
And if you go with the robotic surgery, the one thing I can tell you that cancer is gone out of your body, and also it's gone out of your here.
Mind. That's right.
When he mentioned that was key point in the conversation. I say, I want that.
Yeah.
Because I don't want cancer
back of your mind worrying about it.
Because he told me if we go with the radiation, I cannot guarantee that maybe 10, 15 years from now that cancer will come back.
That's right. You leave one little cell in there.
Right.
That's it.
And I say, and it was a great doctor, Dr. Ricardo Sanchez.
Yes.
I'm so grateful for him. And that was fantastic. So
yeah, the robotic surgery was revolutionary.
Definitely.
For so many men. And it's crazy to me how many in stateside, how many clinicians aren't using that as a first line. I don't understand it, but wow, he was very progressive to be able to offer that. And they had the robot here.
You had the robot. As a matter of fact, the first doctor that brought the robot to Puerto Rico, he also was a professor in MD Anderson.
Oh, MD Anderson, yeah,
in Texas, right?
Yeah.
Right. And he would come back and forth. He was a pioneer in the robotic surgery for prostate cancer.
Yes.
So I was put in his hands, and I was, that was a great decision.
So some of your key messaging, I picked up on a couple of things.
So I'm sorry, I want to bring back to the prevention thing.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
After that, I lived myself the effects of being proactive concerning prevention.
Yes.
So I became a spokesperson for the American Cancer Society's Puerto Rico chapter.
Okay.
And promoting the prevention thing. Because the one thing diseases don't want to know is prevention.
That's right.
Cancer specifically.
That's right.
With time and right on time, you can. There's alternative.
Yes.
So
early
especially
detection,
for prostate cancer, which is a cancer that can be detained and cured so and eradicate so easily if you are on a constant checkup.
Absolutely. And it's such a great message for the men listening and the wives of the men listening, because too many times men put it off and wait.
That's too late.
It's too late.
Yep.
Especially if it's an aggressive form of prostate cancer.
Definitely.
Early detection is key. That's amazing that you stepped in to speak up for early detection for American Cancer Society. That message cannot be hammered home too loudly, right? Because it saved your life.
Yeah.
Really.
And it just gave me an opportunity to go even deeper into that holistic well-being,
Yep.
Because then you have a second chance to do everything better. You say, "Oh wow, I almost,
I'm
almost there." So I'm gonna
your second wake up.
Right, I'm gonna take a lot more care now in my life, and then everything was focused on well-being.
Absolutely.
And that's when all other things started moving or stepping in and aligning.
100%. The other thing, too, that is impressive that I read about Dr. Sanchez?
Yeah.
Is that because your prostate cancer was encapsulated and you were able to get rid of it, they didn't withhold testosterone therapy from you.
No.
And that is so key. And I see this happening so much where urologists that aren't quite as in the know about testosterone,
right,
and how important it is, and how actually low testosterone is related to higher risk of prostate cancer. It's another message that I really like to hammer home to our guys. There's an inverse relationship to testosterone levels in prostate cancer. So the lower your testosterone, the higher your risk of prostate cancer and prostate cancer recurrence. And so he obviously stayed up to date.
When I heard about the hormone therapy and the pellets, I went to Dr. Sanchez.
Yeah.
And he said, there's no contraindication about this. We'll just keep an eye on it. And I've been on hormone therapy probably, let's say, more than 7 years.
Yeah, that's good. And so you weren't on it prior to the diagnosis.
No. I was not on it prior to the cancer.
Yeah.
After cancer, maybe, let's say maybe a good 6 or 8 years after that.
So you're early to mid 50s?
Yeah, mid or late 50s.
Okay.
And because I was feeling, because I go to the gym every day.
Sure.
I was going like, I just, sometimes I feel a little tired.
Yeah, you have to work harder for it.
I start reading about it and listening, it was something I was in the atmosphere, hormone therapy, and I start digging in and I went to Dr. Sanchez and said, listen, I'm interested in this. I said, there's no problem, man. We'll just take care of it, and we'll just
keep an eye
on it. And it's been great. my PSA is 0.001.
As it should be, yeah.
No winking about
That's
it.
good. So and Puerto Rico is very progressive in their knowledge and their passion around hormone therapies. So I love that you caught wind of that. There's so many great clinicians that offer hormone therapy here. But tell me about what things were you noticing? So in the gym, what things did you notice? I hear guys all the time say, when I got my testosterone levels back up, I didn't realize this was related to that. My brain works better, my energy is better, all of that.
I would say that overall everything. Sleep better.
Sleep, yes.
Everything. Focus,
right? And especially with what you do with your career, that
Definitely.
Focus has got to be. You've got to be on remembering, because memory is a big thing when testosterone levels are low. Memory starts to go. So I can imagine, just top to bottom, that's just been a great addition to your therapy.
I'm very happy with it, and the one thing is that every person is a different case.
Correct.
For example, my hormone, in my case, that therapy would last maybe 8 to 10 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And now, I know when I need, because, I started, I think it's time. I check up the calendar. I say, it's time for next dose.
Well, the other thing that's really great about the testosterone therapy, and especially with your passion for prevention, is we see in many medical studies how preventative testosterone is for Alzheimer's, dementia, cardiovascular disease, obviously prostate cancer. We know that now, bone health, all of these things. So disease prevention being such a platform that you're so passionate about, it just adds another layer to that.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? I love there's one more thing that I think is really important to kind of dial in on before we wrap up, and that's what you said about here. What else do you want to say about that? Because touched on something deep there.
Yeah. I see life now as a 3-leg table. You have to balance your physical, mental, and spiritual areas.
Yes.
And almost 2.5 years ago, I decided I already had all the alcohol I needed in my life. So I stopped ingesting alcohol. And that has been like a quantum leap.
In what ways?
The overall, even more focus, even more rested,
connected, probably.
irritability.
Yeah.
And I have found like a sweet spot.
Nice.
And the mind, not only focusing on like your regular daily activity, but also to be at peace with what you do, understanding yourself. I've gone through like an inner space traveling,
Nice.
within myself. And discovering a lot of things,
That's so
and it's
great.
been just a great ride.
That's so great. I love that you're ending on that note, because I think it can't be understated how important that mind connection is. And it's a connectedness, right? There's so many things that can keep us disconnected and distracted from the world, from our gifts, from our purpose. Alcohol being one of them, could be, but also just, all kinds of input, social media. I talk about this in my book, how our brains were not designed to be constantly stimulated. We got to have time. We got to give our bodies time to just kind of chill out so we can connect.
Yeah, and you know what is essential in this? I think the most important aspect of my whole being or well-being is that I stay focused on the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't worry about yesterday because it's gone.
That's right.
And I cannot do anything about tomorrow because I don't even know what's going to happen.
That's right.
I can do the best of it right now at this time in this present moment. For example, right now, enjoying to the fullest this interview with you. Mm. This is the best gift.
It's amazing.
And our lives are bits and pieces put all together, but the present, it's what it is.
It's a gift. I can't thank you enough for taking the time.
My pleasure.
I really appreciate
anytime.
it. And that was
You're always welcome to Puerto Rico.
Yes.
And I'm always here.
I'll tell you, I love the people here. I have never felt so welcomed anywhere I've gone before, and
That's good to hear.
It makes it hard to